Have you ever been driving down the road, on your way to work, on your way to see somebody, on the way to the mall, and all of a sudden traffic gets real bad? You're slowing down, you were doing 60, now you're doing 40, now you're doing 20, now you're at a complete stop, dead traffic. You're wondering why it's inconveniencing you. You're going to be late to work, you're going to be late to meet your friends. Well, you will upon an accident. Their car's been mangled. You see blood. You hear somebody screaming maybe. You hear a siren in the background coming up to arrive on the scene. Later you hear testing was involved and fatalities were involved. And all of a sudden you realize you knew the person, or you know somebody who knows a person who's dead. It was their mom, it was their kid, their only kid. Now dead because someone wanted to text. Now they're gone. Me personally, I always drive looking at the road, one eye, other eye on the back, my rear mirror. You might not be texting and driving. It could be the person behind you, person beside you, person in front of you. You could be doing everything right, 2 hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, checking your mirrors. The person behind you is texting, and you're coming to a stop. They don't see it. They rear-end you. You go off the road, or off a bridge, and you drown. You don't see it coming. It's not just about you who's texting, it's people around you. You have to be aware. If you do look at your text, or you go respond to a text, or you're sending a text, the average time it takes to do that is 5 seconds. If you're going 55 miles an hour, in those 5 seconds, you just drove the length of a football field, technically blindfolded, because you weren't looking at the road. So in those 5 seconds, you just drove 100 yards. So in 5 seconds, you could have been pulling up to a traffic jam, but you didn't know, so you just drove 300 feet. Well, 55 miles an hour, maybe it takes you 7 feet to stop, and all of a sudden, you just drove 300, doing 55 miles an hour. So then you hit a car, that car hit a car, that car hit a car. Just today, I saw a 6-car pileup on my way to a game. I don't know what the cause was, but it could have been texting. Someone wasn't paying attention. 40% of crashes involved cell phones. Every year. 40%. Out of all the crashes. That involves texting, drinking, not paying attention, music too loud, anything. Out of all the crashes every year, 40% are just from texting. Out of the past year or so, actually every year, there's 1.6 million car accidents where cell phones are involved. Out of those 1.6 million, 500,000 involve injuries each year. Out of those 500,000, 6,000 are dead every single year from somebody texting, hey, I'm on my way, or they feel pressured because their friend's waiting for a response and they don't want to wait, they want to text them back real quick. It's just to let them know where they are, instead of just waiting until they get to a stoplight when they can actually take the time to stop and give them a text. So let's say you're going down the street, you're going 55 miles an hour, you're paying attention, you're doing everything right, and it takes you 35 feet to come to a complete stop. Well, if you were, let's say you hopped in a car, you're drunk. You're legally drunk, you're at the limit. You would have to add another 4 feet to that 35 feet to come to the complete stop. By the time you realize that you had to brake, you came to the complete stop. If you were texting and driving, going 55 miles an hour, same scenario, but you were texting, you would have to add an additional 70 feet to that 35 feet to come to a complete stop. By the time you looked up, realized that you had to stop, hit the brake, and came to the complete stop with the 35 feet. Texting and driving is actually found to be 6 times more dangerous than drinking and driving is. Drinking and driving is extremely dangerous, but texting while driving has been found to be 6 times more dangerous. Now, the majority of the states, Florida is now included since October of last year, have passed laws where texting and driving is illegal. So here in Florida, the first offense is just $30 and plus court fees. Second offense is $60. What do you think? Okay, well, I mean, it's not too bad. Well, you also get 3 points on your license. And I don't know about you, but $60 is gas. That's a full gas tank for me. So police are out there to help, out there to save lives. I always hear people say, when I see a cop, I'm more paranoid than I feel safe. You shouldn't feel paranoid if you're not doing anything wrong. If you're not texting, if you're not speeding, if you're doing anything right, you shouldn't feel paranoid. They're here to protect you. They're here to save your life. If a cop sees you and they pull you over for texting, it's because you were texting. It's not because, they're just want to be mean to you. They're trying to save your life. So next time you open an accident and you see some car mangled up and you hear on the news later that night who's with the texting, put the phone down. That could be you. That could be your mom. That could be your son, your daughter.